Hey friends, it's Mari Clark here with the process video for Scrap Your Heart Out YouTube Hop. This is a celebration of International Scrapbooking Day organized by Tiffany Solorio. And I am going to be also showing you here a visual of all of the different sponsors involved in the giveaway for this hop, and there will be more information in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. And a huge thank you to all of these wonderful companies for sponsoring the giveaways. I am going to be doing a little bit of mixed media today for my project, and I'm going to be scrapping this photo of my niece's little girl. Obviously only going to be using one of these photos on the project, but I hadn't trimmed it out yet. I did treat my basil marshmallow white cardstock with this gesso. This is a Finnabair Prima gesso. Really love that transparent gesso. It's awesome. And you could use a palette knife like I just showed you there to spread it on, or just an old card, a credit card or a rewards card, whatever, and just to apply that onto your paper and let it dry. And I usually do a batch of these at one time so that I've got some ready to go. Now this is the Nouveau Shimmer powder, and it's called Sunray Croisette. I'm going to start off with that shimmer powder here with my cardstock. I'm going to spray a little bit of water onto my cardstock, and then in my little tray here, I put a little bit of the powder and I squirted some water in there just to, obviously to get it in a liquid state. And this has got a whole ton of shimmer and sparkle and shine in it, and I absolutely love that. Now I knew that I kind of wanted to put my picture kind of more in the center of my project. So I'm just kind of trying to visualize where that mixed media should go. So I'm just using my brush to guide it onto my paper, let it flow a little bit by lifting it up, and then just doing a little bit of tapping of the brush to get some splatters on there as well. Now the purpose of the drying tool is to be able to control where the pools of the color are going to dry, and wherever the pools of color dry, the color is going to be darker and more pigmented. So you can control that by holding your paper in one hand and your heat tool in the other, and just kind of guiding where you want those little pools of your pigment to go. So that's why I kept the heat tool drying in the video instead of cutting it out, so you could see that process. Now I'm showing you that the color of the little dress of the little girl in the photo has some really pretty pale yellows and some beautiful rich greens. And I really wanted to pick up on that, but I didn't want the greens to be too dark in my mixed media. I want it to be subtle because I really want it to just like play off of the pigment in the picture. So I have some magicals. This is from the Mad Hatter collection. Lindy Stamp Gang magicals are one of my very most favorite mediums to work with. They are so much fun as a shimmery watercolor product. You can get the flat magicals as well, and I do have some of those as well, but the Mad Hatter does have the shimmer in it. And I did want it to be just, like I said, really subtle, and this mint green color is just so beautiful, and it really does complement the green in that dress in the photo so much. So you will see me doing exactly the same thing I did with a yellow. I'm just going to get it moving around here using my brush. I'm going to tap the brush so that I get some splatters, and now I'm just going to take a baby wipe and I'm going to dab up some of the pigment because I want it to just be, like I said, just really pale and light and subtle in the background. I don't want it to be the dominant thing that you see. I want my photo to be the dominant thing, and I just want the colors in my mixed media to accent the colors that are in the photo. So I'm going to go in and add a little bit more, and there's going to be a little bit of a transition here, and you'll be able to see where I added a bunch more of the pigment to make my area of mixed media a little bit bigger. Now I wanted some really subtle texture on here too, and one way to do that is to take some modeling paste or texture paste, whatever you have in your stash, and to run that through a stencil and not pigment it, like just leave it white, and it just adds the most beautiful soft texture and detail to your project without, once again, like taking away from the focal point, which is your photo. So that's really what I was going for here, and you'll just see me moving the stencil around my layout because I want it to, obviously I want the texture to show up around the photo, and so I'm just making sure that there's going to be an ample amount of that texture in different places around where I want my photo to go. So that stencil that I used is actually from Echo Park. I'm not really sure what it's called, but it's just sort of like a tiny little, almost like a little flower petals or something. Now you can see that adorable bow I'm going to use as an embellishment. That's from the Felicity Jane Grace collection. And I'm also going to use a little chunk of this pattern paper from the Heidi Swap Storyline Chapters collection. This paper is called Sunnyside. And what I did was I just cut a corner off of it, and then I fussy cut out the strips. And now I'm taking those strips, distressing them, and I'm going to use them as an embellishment to the left of the photo. Now, I did also place my photo on a piece of packaging from Felicity Jane. So it's just a piece of cardstock packaging that has a little white, it's got a white background with a little tiny black dot. And I thought that was just the cutest mat to use with this. That's also a piece of chipboard. It's a chipboard tag with green stripes on it from the Grace collection again. And that little floral is also from Grace. And the little tab that I'm going to add to the left is also from the Grace collection, as is this little scallop chipboard piece that matches that peach colored bow just perfectly. So using quite a bit of the Grace collection from Felicity Jane. If you followed me since my beginning here on YouTube about 5 years ago, you know I'm a huge Felicity Jane fan. I have subscribed to those kits in the past. I off and on, and every once in a while I'll just go in and treat myself and buy myself one of these kits because I absolutely love them. Now that Adore is also from Grace, and all of these other little embellishment hearts and phrase chipboard pieces are also from that Grace collection, and I just love them. Now the chipboard says this, just darling, and love. And then I'm actually going to do some stamping on that label and also on the tab. I'm going to attach that tab to the left of the photo with my stapler. And now I'm just going to take an older stamp set from Felicity Jane. I think this one's from the Chloe collection. And I'm going to stamp out Happy Day on the tab, and then on that green label, I'm going to stamp out Hey Beautiful. Just a little tip, some of the chipboard from Felicity Jane is coated, and if it is coated, you have to be careful what kind of ink you stamp on it. So I use Stays On ink when I stamped on this coated piece that says Hey Beautiful, because that Stays On ink is super permanent, and it's a really, I don't know, durable, I guess I would call it, ink. And so it stamps on just about anything, any surface, and it will stay there. It won't wipe off. So now I'm just taking my Scotch tacky glue, and I'm going to glue down some of these pieces because I do have some mixed media on my paper. Obviously, I want to make sure that it's adhered really well. And now I'm just noticing that I need to move that title Adore over because I want it to be a little bit more centered over those chipboard pieces that I have added to the right of the photo. If you have never tried mixed media before, the mixed media that I'm using here is very subtle and very simple. So double S's, simple and subtle. That is my style. And I really like using mixed media, but I'm usually pretty light-handed with it. Not always, but almost always. I just like a lighter touch with it. And I think it just goes nicely with this photo. Now, I did put this photo through Lightroom, and I did adjust it so that I made it really light and airy looking, which matches up with sort of the theme of the rest of the layout. Now I'm just going to take and rip off the left edge of my white paper and just distress it a little bit. And I wanted to put some of the Felicity Jane papers behind it. So I'm going to use a strip of the black and white heart. It's like a little polka heart paper. I absolutely love it. The papers that Gina has in her kits are just like exquisite. I always love them. And this really pale yellow is just perfect. It was like it was made for this picture. And I'm going to put just a little strip of that in there too. So I'm just off camera taking the manufacturer strips off those papers and cutting a strip. And then there's going to be a transition here, and you'll see the whole layout is finished and stuck together. And I just took a little bit of repositionable tape runner and added those onto the side of the layout there to the left side where that torn edge is, just to finish it off. This is a really simple and basic layout, but I really love the result. And happy International Scrapbooking Day. This is one of my favorite weekends of the whole year. I hope you guys had fun watching. I hope you check out the entire hop. Make sure you look at the description box below for all of the people involved in the hop, and check out the rest of the videos and check out the giveaways, and have an amazing day. And I hope you are safe, and I hope you are healthy, and I wish you nothing but the best. And that's my video for today. Have an amazing day, guys. I'll see you another time. Bye-bye.